Welcome to the video, everyone. Today again, Danny Bossa with us and his testimony about his start on testosterone replacement therapy. Welcome, Danny.
Hey, Stephen, how are you?
Hi, and we're talking about 1 year on TRT, this one.
Welcome to this channel. I am Dr. Steven de Vos, the lifting dermatologist, and this is my bro science hunting partner Danny Bossa. If you want to learn more about the most cutting-edge science-based information in the world of hormone optimization, please like and subscribe.
Click the bell button to get notified.
I also invite you to join my other YouTube channel, The Lifting Dermatologist. The link you can find in the description of this video.
1 year on TRT. So I had to go back and look at all my logs because I logged pretty much everything from the day I started, what my protocol was, what I was doing, how I felt. You know, when I got my labs done, okay, on these labs, I was doing androgel and I was taking this and I was doing this and this is how I felt, and I kind of graded all these different things. So I have this huge spreadsheet of every single change to every single protocol I've made, what the corresponding blood work was, and how I felt on each one. So I could just go to that spreadsheet and go to a year later and I could see exactly what I was doing and what I changed, and I could see how I felt, which is great. So guys, by the way, keeping a log of stuff, especially when you're starting out, is gold. It's gold, okay? Because you can go and spend all kinds of time tweaking and changing your protocol. But if you can't go back and look at the log about how you felt in each thing, it's kind of useless. So I can go back and like, hey, I noticed here, this is where I stopped taking the AI, or this is where I threw in that 25 milligrams of DHEA, or this is where I started doing this. And look over here, it says I started feeling better and I was getting morning wood, and like, oh, and you can find patterns and you can start figuring out what works and what doesn't. So in my case, 1 year at TRT. By the 1 year at TRT, I had already figured out at that point that I should not be blocking my estrogen under any circumstance, okay? And it's not just a matter of, yeah, but you're talking about crashing it. No, I'm not talking about crashing it, though I did crash it a few times and that sucks. I wasn't chasing the number anymore and saying it's got to be in this range. I just said, you know what? I'm sick to death of playing with this stupid Arimidex dose. And do I time it? Like, do I take it the day of my injection or the day before? Or do I have to wait? Like maybe if I take an injection, it's going to aromatize. So then maybe my E2 will spike the next day. So I should take my Arimidex maybe the next day. And it's just the time I spent on this stupid AI stuff and trying to get these numbers to a certain thing. I hope you guys have just gotten to the point that you realize this is just, you don't want to do this. Stop worrying about your E2 numbers. Stop worrying about all these little things on the labs. I get emails every day from guys like, look at this number. Is this number okay? Is this number okay? How do you feel? I feel great. Okay, so screw the number. What do you care about the stupid number? You feel fine. Yeah, but I heard that my level should be, 30 NGDL for my free T, and I'm only at 27. So I feel like I'm not. How do you feel? Great. Leave it alone. You're done. That's it. For me, at 1 year, I had figured out stop blocking my E2. I realized by then, for me, 25 milligrams of DHEA helped in the libido and erection department in particular. It did give me a little bit more acne, especially on my back, but I was willing to kind of put up with that stuff for the benefits everywhere else. And I had learned that pregnenolone just didn't work with me, like at any dose. It just didn't. So I abandoned that. So I kind of figured all that stuff out probably around the 7th month or so, where I cut all that stuff out, and I was taking 200 milligrams of testosterone a week, divided into daily shots. I was taking 25 milligrams DHEA. And even around the 7th month, I was experimenting by adding vitamin D. And for some reason, every time I would add vitamin D, I didn't feel as good. And I don't know why, because when I go outside and I get vitamin D from the sun, I felt great. But for some reason, taking it orally, I tried sublingual caps and just regular capsules. I've never tried transdermal vitamin D or injectable vitamin D or whatever, but everything oral that I took, literally within about a week or two, I just started feeling off. And I still haven't figured out why that is, because my vitamin D levels are actually too low, especially where I live now. I'm in Montreal. At this time of year, at about 4:30, it's dark, okay? And I come home from work, it's dark, and I wake up in the morning, it's dark. It's not getting a heck of a lot of sun. So I figured all that out probably around the 7th month. So by the time the year came around, that's when I can say I had achieved what I felt was how I needed to be feeling all along, which I probably could have attained a lot sooner. In my case, it took a year just because of all of the overanalyzing and overcomplicating that I did by looking at these damn numbers on these labs all the time. Like I would do a lab and like, okay, I got to change this. I got to change this. Okay, so I'm going to change this and I'm going to give it 4 weeks. I'm going to go get blood tests done. And I was going private. My blood tests were like $1,000 for freaking blood tests because I kept, it was almost like it was almost like you buy lottery tickets and you're waiting for the winning numbers. So you're getting your labs and you're going to go see the numbers and you're like, oh man, my E2 is still at 33. Like, oh, I thought that with this, it would have been this number. And it's, I hope you guys just stop doing that. I just hope you guys stop doing that. By a year, my mood was, it was night and day different compared to before. My confidence level was through the roof. I was putting way more effort into my business. I remember waking up in the morning before, and I didn't want to get out of bed. And if I did get out of bed, I didn't want to do any work. And I have my own business. I work for myself. So it's like, nobody's paying me a salary. Like I got to generate business, right? I had no motivation to do anything. And when that year came around, I remember waking up and my eyes would open and I was rested and I felt good. I'm like, okay, I'm going to email that guy and I'm going to try to push that. I'm going to ask that guy for price increase. And when I do this and do this, and I had all these ideas and I was doing them and my business just started like, it just started going and going and going and going, which is great. It gave me kind of the kick in the pants that I needed. I was waking up every morning wood. Libido was like, I was all over that. You know what I mean? Like I wanted it all the time. My little friend was like, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's play. Like just constantly. It didn't matter like, how many times, like it was always ready to go, which was like really, really cool. Cause I had gone through like probably, 15 years of not at all. So that was really refreshing. Energy levels were better. Confidence was better. I remember just walking around, going to a store, whatever, walking around, and I just felt like I'm walking kind of like head held high. And I was like, just in my mind, like this feeling of like, don't mess with me type thing. I know it's silly, it's juvenile, but even to this day, I still have this feeling that I like, don't mess with me. Like if anything happens, I know I can take care of it. If anything happens, I'm ready. I'll handle it. I don't feel afraid. I don't feel like fearful. I don't worry as much. I don't get intimidated as much. It's just kind of, whatever it is, I can handle it. And it's also calmed me down, because before I used to worry about this stuff and I'd get anxiety, I'd get afraid, and I was always kind of worked up and anything will happen, I would just like, explode and like freak out. Whereas now it's just kind of like, I'll give you a silly, stupid example. I'm doing this recording, so I got to come up with stuff like on the fly, but it's kind of like, the martial arts expert where these like 3 guys surround him and they like want to pick a fight. And he knows he's a martial arts expert and he's just like, whatever, it's okay, we can do it, because he knows that if anything happened, he can take care of it type thing. So he's like super, super, super calm versus somebody who's, never been in a fight in their entire life gets in a situation like that and they'd be freaking out, right? So I had that sense of calmness. And no, I'm not a martial arts expert. It's just a silly analogy I'm using, but just this overwhelming feeling of if something happens around me, I'll be okay. I'll get out of it. I'll handle it. I've got that confidence. I won't just back down. I'll keep my cool. Better energy, better sleep, better libido. Brain function was night and day as well. Just clarity of thought. I could think of more stuff. I could do more stuff in my head. Just taking a break, I'd be having lunch. And before I'd have lunch and I just like kind of in a state of nothingness where I don't want to think, like it hurts to think. Whereas now I'll have lunch and I have like, maybe 15-minute break just to have a little bite. And my brain is just like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'll make sure that, and don't forget about this, and boom, boom, boom. And it's just so much better across the board. If any of you guys are find you're lacking in any of those things, and I'm not saying this stuff is like a magic pill, because it isn't. And for some of you, you might try TRT, and a year later, you've done everything that I said or whatever your doctor said, and you're like, I'm just not feeling it. You know, maybe testosterone wasn't really your issue. You know, maybe it was thyroid. Maybe it was something in your diet. Maybe it was toxins in your body, heavy metal poisoning, whatever. Maybe you're intolerant to some food you're eating, or maybe it could be a number of things. But for sure, if your testosterone levels are low and you're like, hey, I'm not getting erection, not getting this, I'm not getting this, not getting this, like, okay, well, let me try it out and see. And then you still got to give it the time it's going to take to see if it, you know, if it's really worthwhile doing or not. But in my case, with my experience of starting off the way I did, getting on a proper dose, and then starting to, you know, realizing what's not happening as fast as I wanted to. So now I'm like playing around with stuff more and tweaking stuff more and overcomplicating stuff and breaking my head over the numbers, and everything just took a nosedive. Once I learned I needed to stop doing this and just got, you know, daily shots, DHA works great with me, perfect. I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to stick with that. And then it was just this gradual climb. Every month was a little better, a little better, a little better, a little better. And I found that by the time I got to a year, I felt like, okay, I think I'm good now. Like, I don't feel the need to want to change anything anymore. Later on, I did try increasing my dose a little bit more. There were some minor little symptoms that were left. You know, libido erections, let's say. There were times that things that just felt off for a couple of weeks, and then it would kind of come back, and I couldn't really quite explain it. I upped my dose a little bit more, and ever since then, it's been like I'm good. Like, that's it. Like, I literally don't have any issues whatsoever that I feel needs to be addressed. So just goes to show the time that some of these things might take. So make sure you got a good doctor. Make sure they're willing to give you a proper dose. If they're going to start you off really, really low, and then they're going to raise it over time, over 10 freaking appointments that's costing you money, and 10 labs that's costing you money, just leave and go somewhere else. Say, I want to try this stuff, but I want to start on a proper dose. I want to do as frequent administration as possible. If you're scared of needles, go with the cream, transscrotal cream. We've done a ton of videos about that. Don't block your AI. If the doctor says, I'm going to give you an AI right off the bat, just say no. Remember those commercials? Just say no. Just say no. And just start with that. Don't take any herbs. Don't take any supplements. Just say, I'm going to try this out, and I'm going to give it the time, and I'll see. And then later on, maybe I'll try adding one thing at a time. Best advice I can give you. Again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. These videos, I was just explaining my experience. I'm not a physician. I know nothing. Every time I learn something, I say, oh, I know a little bit more. I realize that I don't know even more stuff than I previously didn't know. So I'm just sharing what I know as best as I can. If any of this helps you, fantastic. And if it doesn't, well, you know, oh well. That's about it.